propulsion continues to be nominal.
Alright, the chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight is down, try SC off. Say again, SC off. Off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
And yo everyone, and welcome to a live stream of the happenings and ongoings at SpaceX's Starbase in southern Texas. I am Chris Gebhardt, the assistant managing editor for NASASpaceflight, and we do appear to be ready for a lift of Booster 7 off of the orbital launch mount by the Chopstick lifting system. This, of course, following the unexpected test anomaly earlier this week with the 33 Raptor 2 engines at its base. So, so with that, and without further ado, let's run down who is here for this stream, because it might not just be the booster that will get tested today. We definitely have some stuff to talk about, and it's a Starship stream, so of course we have the one and only Alex, the Starship expert extraordinaire, joining us. Alex, how is it going today?
It's okay, a little bit sleepy from yesterday. We saw raptors coming in and out and things like that. So yeah. Oh boy. Not that an expert. I think SpaceX trolled me yesterday. We might talk about that later, but yeah.
Well, we could talk about that then, certainly, but I think the big question on everyone's mind for you is, are you keeping cool over there? Because it's quite a heat wave over there.
Oh yeah, I have the AC like 5x5, as we will say.
5x5, there we go. I like that. 5x5. And speaking of 5x5, Ian, do we have you loud and clear?
I believe we do. Hopefully it'll be an interesting and quick, fingers crossed, stream.
Well, we certainly have more streams to come tonight if SpaceX has anything to say about it, don't we?
Oh boy, absolutely. Because why would just one thing be happening at one location?
Exactly. And for commentary, it's going to be myself, Alex, and Ian, but joining us in the background as our producer, as always, pushing the buttons and pulling the levers to make all of this work and to make our voices and the images all match and come to you perfectly across the interwebs, as it is known. We have Michael Baylor, the one and only, our live stream producer here at NASA Spaceflight. So with that, we are ready to take your questions, and many of you already know exactly what to do. But for those of you who are new to our channel, who are just joining us, this is an interactive live stream. We are here to take your questions, answer any questions you've got about the Starship system, about SpaceX, the Artemis program, which is something that this booster is connected to. But what we ask is that you just tag us at NASA Spaceflight in the YouTube chat. That goes into some special algorithms that we've got that pulls all those messages and makes it easier for us to see in the background. So do go ahead and tag us at NASA Spaceflight in chat with some of your questions. But the first thing I want to do is throw it to Alex and Ian here, because what is it that we are expecting to see here today? And let's confine this just to Starbase for now, because it might not be just the big shiny thing we're seeing on our screen right now, right?
Yeah, so right now what we're looking at, you're looking at Booster 7 in the orbital launch mount, like we said before. Now, Booster 7 is expected to be rolled back to the production site, to either the high bay or the mega bay, probably more the mega bay. And there it's going to undergo some rigorous inspections. And why is it doing some inspections? Well, there was an issue, I guess you could call it, during testing a few days ago. If you watched our stream, if you've been following us on Twitter, you'll know that there was an issue during engine testing of Booster 7. It seemed that they were just going to do a spin prime test on Booster 7, but somehow methane got leaked out. Somehow it ignited and caused a massive fireball under the vehicle, causing an unknown amount of damage. Now, the access at the launch pad is relatively limited, as are any options for Raptor swap outs. So SpaceX has opted to move the booster back to the Mega Bay, or back to the production site in general, and from there they'll do very in-depth investigations as to the damage, as to what happened, and replace or repair anything that needs repairing. So right now today, or at least in this live stream, we're looking at the very beginnings of that process, where they're going to lift it off the orbital pad and bring it back to the production site. Now, this is actually a bit of an interesting event here because this is the first time that Chopsticks will be used to lift a booster off the orbital launch mount. Now, previously we saw the Chopsticks lift Booster 7 onto the launch mount, but now they're lifting it off the launch mount. So very interesting to see that first there. But yeah, that's what we're looking for today. We don't know how long the checkouts will be at the production site. Maybe it'll be a week, maybe it'll be a month, maybe it'll be 2 months. We don't know. And another thing up in the air is, will this booster actually fly the orbital flight? Because this was intended to fly the orbital flight, but now it's kind of up in the air. Because SpaceX doesn't know the extent of the damage. If there's only light damage, sure, they could repair it and fly it. But also, there's a possibility that Booster 8 may be the vehicle to fly. We can get into that a bit more later. But yeah, a lot of events going on in the background here. But that is the main event for today, watching the lift.
Yeah, and you mentioned this, so I'm curious, Alex, for you on this one. We are getting a lot of questions if they were planning to roll back to the high bay. Why replace a Raptor like we saw yesterday? And Israel, Brewster, I'm going to throw your question up there, but a lot are asking a very similar question in chat.
Yeah. So one of the I don't have the answer myself. Obviously, we're kind of guessing here, but my total guess here is that they probably wanted to take one of the Raptors off during the night, so that they could already be inspecting it or something, in case of damages, or just see how it fared, the anomaly this Monday. So that's sort of how I think it goes, but I don't really have a better guess than that right now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
One of the things,
Yeah,
uh,
go for it. Yeah.
just because it's here on screen right now, you see that yellow thing, like right on the center on the view there on the orbital launch mount. Well, that's some sort of crane that they installed like in the past month and a half right there. And I thought yesterday they were gonna use it for lifting the Raptor because it made sense. Like, you need something to be able to put the Raptor off the platform they rolled down the booster. So you need a crane to be able to put it back down on the ground, because obviously it's too high up to use any other sort of mechanism. And it was directly below it, and it was during the night. There was not good illumination and everything. So I was thinking, oh yeah, they're gonna use that one, and I actually tweeted out thinking it was going to be that use. And then they took one of the giant cranes they have out there, and that's the one that they were putting on the Raptor, and you could see this little engine hanging off the side of the crane. It was hilarious. And I was like, I feel robbed. It's like I was expecting the other crane to be used here, and they used the big one. So yeah, not always I can guess things that good.
But you can guess something's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. um Indeed. And Dank Jeb, thanks so much for the support, asking how many push-ups did Chris G and Ian do in preparation for the show? I mean, not an actual joke. I actually did push-ups right before the show, because as we were waiting to go live, I just did an exercise app. But I don't know, it wasn't necessarily in preparation for the show, but I guess our energy levels are up, Ian, because you're included in this too. What did you do to prepare for the show?
I woke up and made lunch.
There you go.
Yeah. Also, I admire your willingness to do an exercise routine. I need to get into that.
I admire the fact that you just went with lunch instead of just calling it breakfast, regardless of the time of day.
It's summer vacation. I'll leave it at that. But anyway.
There we go. Jean-Marie, thank you so much for becoming a member of the Red Team. Thank you so much for that continued support and that membership. That really means a lot. That does really help us on a month-to-month basis. Keep everything going here and keep being able to bring you all of the really cool stuff that we love to show you from Starbase and from all the other launch sites around the world, which leads me to this, a question from Basti, who is asking...
I believe, Chris, I believe Michael is circling something on stream, which is one of the pins on the stand, on the transport stand, is up. I believe also the other one is up, but it's blocked by the by the orbital launch mount legs, and I think that's he's circling that so that we can talk about that, I guess. And that's actually one of the pins that we saw being used on the previous lift. So obviously they had to bring the booster all the way here, and then they put it on the launch mount using the chopsticks. And when they did that, when they lifted off from the stand, they kept the stabilizers on the arms uh not connected to the booster, while on the stand there were these pins that were going up along the booster, as the booster was going up, those pins were also going up. And we thought back then that the case for these pins was that they will be stabilizing the bottom of the booster so that the engines could clear the stand without hitting hitting the nozzles and hitting the sides of the stand and things like that. And that kind of made sense. And actually, before we went live, for all those that are watching, we were discussing, oh, what are we gonna see today and things like that, as usual, right? And one thing that I pointed out is that the OLM, the orbital launch mount, also has these pins, but I'm not fully sure if that's gonna be the same as they were doing in the stand. I guess we're gonna be just watching for that. Uh, but it's very likely that what we're gonna see right now is the booster is gonna be lifted, and the pins are gonna guide that lift so that the engine nozzles don't hit the stand, don't hit the mount and everything, and all the other bits as well. And then once it is cleared off, then they'll put the stabilizers on the arms, which are the triangle thingies that you can see on the right side of the screen, right below the arms. And those are gonna come in, stabilize the booster, and then the pins at the bottom are going to disconnect. So that's sort of the theory here. Let's see if that happens, right? Sorry for interrupting you, Chris, but since Michael was pointing that out on camera, I wanted to talk about it.
Oh, and it looks like the stabilizer pins are in.
Are already in. Okay, well, that's better.
That's a great indicator that we're close to launch. And yeah, those stabilizer pins, those are used to, if I'm right, Alex, those are used to help fine tune the position of the booster, make sure it's at the right angle, basically the right angle, really, to get
Yeah.
it off the pad and into the mount. The stabilizer pins going in is an excellent indication that a lift is coming up soon, because that is pretty much the last thing they do before going for a lift.
Hmm. And it's worth pointing out that, all of these precision movements and guides and everything, when it was done with a crane, that was like a dozen people with guidelines and things like that from the ground, just trying to guide the booster to the position that they wanted to. So this is a very delicate dance of just like not human actions, so to speak, where they just don't need any people around the booster. They can do all of this remotely, and that's kind of a big simplification on all of these activities. It's amazing.
Indeed. And Robert Hobson with a $200 super chat,
Whoa.
Jeez.
saying to the Project Alex from SpaceX Trolls Fund.
Oh, protect Alex.
Oh, Protect Alex. Sorry. Donation to the Protect Alex from. That makes a lot more sense if you read it correctly. There we go. Well, there we go. but seriously, Robert, my gosh, thank you so much. That is words failing support. Thank you. Thank you. Really goes a long way.
And I'm flattered that it was about me.
But yeah, so getting back into the flow of things here, a lot of you were asking in chat if we were going to, if our plan is to also stream the CRS-25 liftoff tonight from Cape Canaveral, and the answer to that is a big yes. We are indeed going to be rolling out there for the launch of CRS-25. In fact, I'll only be here for about 15 more minutes before I swap out with somebody else to go do that. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that on our channel. But back here with the booster and what we are looking at now, Ian, Space Force Potato. I'm only going with that since you are Ian Pineapple. You know,
Okay.
pineapple potato. You got to make some connection here.
Food
Do you
friend.
mind
That's good.
do you mind explaining what the chopsticks are? I don't know what they are.
Yes, that's a great question, and yeah, it can be a little confusing. So, the chopsticks, if you look on the right side of your screen, the chopsticks are the large black arms sticking out from the left of the big gray tower. Now, those slide up and down the tower, and they open and close, kind of like how chopsticks would. You can't see both of them here, but there are two arms. They're pretty much identical to each other. They're pretty much mirrored. Now, those will grab around the top of a booster or the top of a ship to lift them on and off the orbital pad, but in the future, if things work out very well, those same arms right there are going to catch boosters and maybe ships midair. Um, Now, the boosters do not have landing legs because landing legs take up a lot of mass. So, what SpaceX has opted to do, they're going to fly the boosters in and catch them midair using those same chopsticks right there. That is probably a long way out from happening, or at least a relatively long way. Um, but yeah, that's what the chopsticks are, and those are being used today to lift the booster. So, hopefully, within the next few minutes, you'll get to see them in action.
Indeed. Indeed. Lucas with some support for us saying, was the SLS the Starship lifting system intentional? That's funny. Appreciate the joke. Yes, the SLS, the Starship lifting system. I mean, you know. But also, CJ Howell, thank you for becoming a Capcom member of our channel. That actually gets you access to our Discord. So if you like all of this bizarre and crazy interaction that we do live on air and you feel like that is not enough for us or for you, you can join our Discord and you can come hang out with us for even more hilarity and shenanigans and talking spaceflight stuff. So for those of you who are Capcom and above, if you do have a new membership with us, just give that invite a few minutes to a couple of hours to arrive, because we do know that sometimes it's a bit delayed. So just give it a bit of time there. But here's another good question from John Cobb, who's asking, how far along is Booster 8? Alex, how is the next booster in the sequence coming? You know, just in case.
Yeah, so I believe the booster 8 was stacked on the Mega Bay, was it? Yeah, Mega Bay. Last week. We were actually talking about that on Monday because, you know, after what happened with booster 7, we were all like, well, is this it for booster 7? Are they gonna be just scrapping and moving on to booster 8? And I believe still there are some questions there, but it seems at least that from what Elon has said and claims, you know, on Twitter and everything, it appears that they're just gonna be repairing booster 7. But in any case, booster 8 is right now sort of where booster 7 was around April or thereabouts, like just stacked and about to roll out. So I don't know. We might see Booster 8 at the pad. Can you imagine that? They all switch through. They bring out Booster 7 and then they bring Booster 8. Who knows? I don't think so, but maybe they'll wait a little bit on Booster 8. And but yeah, maybe, you know, they give us a surprise now that it's stacked.
And we've got a lot of other questions that are sort of dealing with that, which I thought was a great lead in here to some of the others. Stefan is asking us to. It seems like Booster 7 got more damage than we thought. Is a sign that is it a sign that the booster is damaged, that they're deciding to take it back for to the Mega Bay, or is there a different reason why they would go back to the production facility?
Well,
Hmm.
there are two possibilities there. And I think for right now, the most safe assumption would be that they're not entirely sure. Now, at the orbital pad, you can't do very in-depth investigations into how the booster is. They can go inside the tanks, they can do close-ups of the engines, but you can't do that much. You can't swap out parts of the pad. It's probably more out of just safety, or not safety, but just playing it safe and not risking anything. If you take it back to the Mega Bay, you can disassemble some parts of it, take the engines out, replace any engines if you need to. Again, we don't know what the damage on the engines are. So that's going to be a great asset to have, because, and also to be closer to the ground too. You'll have to at the orbital pad, you have to go up several stories in a lift to get into the booster. But at the Mega Bay, you're much closer to the ground. It's much easier to swap components out. So it's just more easy to do inspections there. They're probably playing it safe because this was a very unique event. This wasn't just like a little mishap. This was a massive fireball, an explosion, pretty much. And it seems pretty advantageous to be careful about it. Go step by step and be careful with what you do.
And
Also,
I know a lot of people.
oh.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Alex. Sorry. Yeah.
I was just noticing right now that the booster is lifting.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it
was
is.
that
The
quick?
booster is indeed lifting. So you can see the chopsticks in action there, and this actually brings us to a really good question. So, how are they orienting this booster over the transport stand? Is the stand
look at
very
that.
carefully
Oh,
positioned? Like, look at that.
Look at the shields. They
Did
have
they-
removed shields.
either they were removed or maybe they blew off.
Yeah.
Or they blew them off. Yeah, that could
That's
be a
what
case.
that's what I'm wondering. Probably not, but I mean that's still very neat to see.
Oh. Are those lines, or is that bottom part damaged? Look at that.
Oh,
No,
On
yeah,
the
those
left-hand-
are lines.
Are those just lines and
Yeah.
soot? Or are those
Yeah, we
damaged?
no,
I mean,
we
that looks
saw that.
damaged.
No, we saw that when the lift happened the other time.
Oh, but look
that
at
was
the engine
there.
bells on 24 and 23 on the lower right-hand side.
yeah.
Yeah, that was there. That was there. When they
Before?
brought it. Yep. People were asking that actually back then. I
Wait,
remember clearly.
so all of those little connector panels down there that are uniform, like the heat shield panels, the shielding panels, all of those that are uniform on the left-hand side and then not uniform on the right-hand side, Alex, you're saying that's normal?
Oh, you mean the shields or what's on the nozzle of
Well,
24 and 21?
both. We originally it was the heat
Okay.
shield that looks
Okay.
cracked and broken.
Yeah, well, the shield I don't think it's in good in good shape. I'm more talking about the thing on the nozzle because many people asked us like, "What's this?" And you could actually see that it's some kind of cable that they just taped to the nozzle, sort of like so that it's not hanging or something probably. And we've seen that on previous ships and other boosters previously that they just leave those temporarily. And with the power of the tape, they do that so that it's not hanging and flapping and things like that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I was trying to caution like, hey, the thing on the nozzle is okay. Like we saw that the shields don't look like they are okay.
And it looks like they've paused lifting.
They
Maybe they'll lift it further, or maybe they're just waiting to start swinging it over.
Yeah, which actually brings us to a question that Paul Kelly was asking us, which is how are they orienting the booster over the transport stand? Is the stand sort of very carefully positioned and aligned? Are there cameras, combination of both? How do they do this when it's time to swing it over?
I think Alex might be best for that.
Yeah, my total guess again. I don't have full insight into this, obviously, but we've seen many cameras on all the devices. Like even on the stabilizers, they have a suite of cameras on each stabilizer, and they also have cameras on the platform on the OLM. They have cameras everywhere, but obviously that's probably not enough for the fine-tuning things that they have to do and positions and all of that. So I'm guessing they might also have perhaps laser stuff, for example, for range and correctly positioning, those kind of sensors. So yeah, probably a combination of both of cameras and other sort of sensors.
There we go. And Capital Daywalker, thank you so much for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. If you were one of those people who randomly got selected for a Red Team membership from those that were gifted here from Capital Daywalker, let us know. Always good to see who's gaining some perks here from the generosity of other members of our channel. Thanks so much, Capital Daywalker. Very much appreciated. Stefan, just with a couple of dollars support, saying thanks for answering my question earlier. It's always our pleasure. Michael PK, thanks so much for becoming a red team member. Hope you enjoy the early perks there. ATO, thanks so much for the support. No message, just support. Thank you very much. Andrew saying, greetings Starship watchers. And it comes with a question. Has the root cause of the explosion been identified yet? Also, here is some curly L's. I gotta say it like DOS says it, right? You gotta say it like DOS says it. But yeah, what has Elon said on social media about the testing anomaly the other day?
Yeah, we haven't heard too much, unfortunately. All that we know was that it was not nominal. He said that on Twitter, and that they're rolling it back for repairs. He said that it may take a week for repairs. Um, Again, we don't really know if that's Elon time or not, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how much they need to repair. They could get back to the building and be like, okay, let's replace one Raptor, let's replace this panel, ship it out in a week. Or they could be like, there are issues with all of the Raptors, swap all the Raptors out, do the heat shields. We don't know what the process is going to be. And as for what the cause of the explosion was, he said that it was due to a buildup of methane gas underneath the pad. I don't believe he stated why, but he said that it was past their sensors and that it ignited somehow, and that to not do that in the future, they're not going to be doing spin prime tests of all 33 Raptors. So that's what we've heard so far.
And actually, that's great. A great answer there, Ian, because that totally answers Crafty Geek's question here, which was how might the protocols for the test that ended in a fireball change in the future? And there we go. So, there you go. And also, I want to make a slight correction to something I said earlier. It's not Capital Daywalker, it's Corporal Daywalker. My apologies for getting the acronym incorrect there. There are too many acronyms. But Corporal Daywalker, thank you so much for those gifted memberships. And Ticonderoga, it's a very similar question to what Crafty was asking, but just sort of in a different vein. If something like that test happened, or forbid a larger explosion happened at the facility in 39A, do you think that could affect SpaceX's ability to operate in Florida in general?
Could it affect it? Definitely. Could it get them kicked out? Probably not. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. There are going to be test issues at 39A. There is a real chance that there will be a vehicle explosion at 39A, as much as we don't want to say that. If SpaceX intends to do rapid launches, do hundreds of launches a year of Starship, there's going to be failures along the way, and that's okay. This is a test program for a reason. Do I think it'll get him kicked out? No. And as I'm saying that, the chopsticks are actually rotating now. They're translating the vehicle off of the pad.
Look at that. So this is that next part of that sequence, right? First you come vertically right out of your launch mount, and now this is that swing over, that rotation to get it over the transport stand, correct?
Yeah.
There you go.
Is it me or is it going faster than usual?
About the same speed, maybe a tiny bit faster.
They upgraded the hydraulics on the chopsticks, so who knows?
They did.
But it does feel, at least, perhaps it's just, because we saw them upgrading. We're now like, our own mind. It's like, they're going faster, right? Perhaps it's just me, but it does feel like that they're going
I think
faster.
it's because we all want them to just go faster, go faster, go faster, right?
At the speed of light.
Yeah, hey, let's do it. Let's do it. But yeah, as we see the booster rotating, Richard Palmer, thank you for becoming a red team member. Very much appreciate that support. John noting that the stabilizer arms on the transport extended up, and yes, indeed they did. Look, getting ready for that booster to be set down on them for that eventual move back to the production site. And CA&P Railroad with a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. Asking or saying, watching the testing of Booster 7 and now Crane Assist takeoff Kato brings back the Texas tank watching days. Let's go fly solos. Or silos, not solos. Let's go fly silos. I agree. Let's go fly some more silos, right? Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
We all want to see that.
Well, so speaking of testing silos, there are some good questions here. And Scott, I'm going to grab yours in particular, but a lot of people are asking very similar questions, which is how are they going to test the chopstick catch? Are they really going to do it on the orbital flight test, or are they going to do suborbital hop tests of boosters to test it? What do we know about how they're going to test the actual catch system?
That's interesting. I guess we all are asking ourselves that, right? Um, it doesn't seem like they're gonna be doing any sort of hop tests, just like they did with the ships. Probably because they could. I think that probably the thinking is that if you're gonna fly the booster, why not put a ship on top, right? Even if it's just for a hop, you can test the chopsticks the same way if you're putting a ship on top with a payload on board, right? And just chuck it into orbit and bring the booster back to the chopsticks. Um, I guess the whole deal here is that the booster is eventually going to be able to divert as it approaches to the chopsticks. So I guess if there's any sort of problem, just like we've seen with Falcon 9, it's probably going to be able to avoid the tower. So they have at least that option on, you know, that could at least protect the the tower from any sort of impacts or explosions and similar.
Indeed. And here's a good question. I'm pretty sure like I'm just like making everyone's day the many times I say indeed. It's become a running joke because that's just what I say. I don't know why it's my go-to word. It just is. But, but aside from that, there is a good question here from IDK who's asking, spin prime today, and while that might seem like a joke from the test we understand that went awry earlier this week, um, he's not actually referring to the booster, is he? There's another vehicle there that could be doing some testing tonight, potentially, right?
Yeah, so we actually saw a shot of it earlier. Ship 24 right now is on pad B, I think pad B,
Yep.
as a suborbital test site. Okay, thanks, Alex. And that is getting
There
ready.
it is.
There it is. That is Ship 24 right there. That is getting ready for its own test campaign. Now, Ship 24 is a bit upgraded over Ship 20, which was the last vehicle to visit the site. And should things all go well, Ship 24 will be flying atop Booster 7 for the orbital flight test. Again, that is pending Ship 24 goes through its testing nominally, and that Booster 7 is repaired fully. But yeah, so Ship 24 may be doing some testing today. Again, that is a big may. The schedule's always changing down at Boca Chica. But yeah, hopefully we can get some cool additional testing tonight.
Gonna be very, very packed here today. We're gonna have probably that testing with Ship 24, this now, the lift, and CRS 25. So it's gonna be all in the same day.
All at once, right? That's how SpaceX likes to do it, definitely. And why not? I mean, I very much remember eras where, saying to somebody, "Oh yeah, see you next month for the next launch," was considered a rapid cadence. 2 months was a rapid cadence. And I much rather prefer this era where you barely have time to breathe and turn around, you know, before the next
Yeah.
one. But I hope that's not just me on that one. Here's another good question. Is Ship 24 going to have to roll back to load its Starlink satellites, or are they able to do that at the launch site?
Huh. That's a good question. Actually, yeah, that's a really good question. I never thought of that.
I
I mean,
actually,
Right?
well, if you
yeah,
want me
because I mean,
to speculate about that, perhaps.
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, because I was thinking, they delivered them on a box and they used the high bay crane. So I was thinking, a crane is a crane, right? So it doesn't matter if it's the high
Yeah,
bay or out here at the launch site. So ideally, or like in that guess situation, they could probably bring the box here with the Starlinks and just put one of the cranes here, probably the SpaceX crane out there, and just put it next to the ship and be like, hey, chuck the Starlinks inside, close the door and just launch. That could be a thing, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm just like, hey, it's inside a box, right? And a crane is a crane. And oh my god, that view is amazing.
Wow. I gotta say, like, we were discussing this in our back channel. The views on the stream are just like great today. Like this view, the view of Ship 24 with Booster 7 in the background, I would use that as a desktop wallpaper. I would use that as a poster. Like these are great shots right here. I just gotta hand it to all the operators today.
Indeed.
Alrighty, folks, and I know a lot of you are still asking this question in chat, so I get to answer this in a really nice way. Yes, we are indeed planning to stream and cover the CRS-25 cargo launch on a Falcon 9 and Dragon up to the station tonight. And in fact, that is why I am now going to hand off to my wonderful friend and colleague, the one and only Mr. Jack Beyer. Jack, how is it going today?
It's going good. I'm down at the port of LA shooting B-1063 getting lifted off of Course I Still Love You. So hopefully my comms are good. I am not even looking at YouTube chat right now, but hopefully it's all 5x5s. Hey everybody, look at that. Booster 7's in the air.
And with that, Jack, I will turn over hosting duties to you, and for everyone else, I will see you later tonight for CRS-25's launch.
All right, party on, Garth.
See you, Chris.
I was hoping he would say party on, Wayne. All right, anyways. I'm bringing up the panel now, and I see that question Chris was just answering about the Starlink satellites and maybe them loading at the launch site. Do we think there's any Starlink satellites in Ship 24, like, right now? Do we see them? I thought we saw, like, the loader up next to it while it was in the high bay before it rolled out to the launch site or something like that. I'm not sure. But would be interesting if they had a Starlink on it right now for like vibrational testing or just like testing during the static fire or what have you.
That would be really useful. And actually, we're looking the boosters being lowered right now.
Did we already discuss the apparent damage to the heat shield?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we might have discussed it. Do we think that it kind of snapped there, or that they just cut it there to get the platforms off to look at the engines? Huh. Either way, the heat shield is going to need some repairs, some work for sure. But that's why it's going back to the production site. There they have all the tools to assemble, to tear apart, to inspect, repair vehicles. It'll be a perfect spot to inspect Booster 7.
Sure enough. Really quick, Malik, thank you for the support. They say, could some sort of a cyber attack had caused the explosion? I think we're getting pretty tinfoil hat at that point, but I mean, hey, it's always fun to go a little tinfoil hat, but no, I don't think so. But I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some kind of crazy Stuxnet, but for rockets, and no, I don't think so. That's really tinfoil hat. Interesting question though, Malik. Does anyone want to weigh in on that, or do you think I covered that sufficiently?
Yeah, I don't think it's really a possibility. I mean, maybe, but probably not. SpaceX seems very secure in their comm systems. This is not just like openbooster.exe on the public Wi-Fi network.
I mean, but yeah, the space. Just look at what they did with Starlink, making it more secure after they supplied a whole bunch of the terminals to the Ukraine and whatnot, and how Elon said that. I think he said they were going to be doubling down on that or something along those lines. And yeah, often the most simple explanation is the most correct one. And the most simple explanation, as far as I have seen so far, is that it was just a big oopsie goof. So sometimes you make big oopsie goofs.
Yeah, I mean, look at SN4. You know that, Jack.
Or SN3, or SN1, or Mark 1, or SN11, or etc.
Yep.
Let's see. Redstone. I'm just going to run through a couple more super chats really quick and get the queue cleaned out before we go on with your questions at NASASpaceflight. If you have any questions, and they'll pop up in the queue that Michael set up. Let's see. Redstone TUT or Redstone Tudo is asking, I love your recap videos. Hope the B7 will not leave the pad with an explosion. Yeah, I mean, hopefully B7 gets to live on and will be repaired and we'll get to fly. We all want to celebrate the first flight set of Starship booster and ship, right? So hopefully it's 7 and 24, and we don't get psyched out again, like we did
Yeah.
with 4
And
and 20.
And
while
Jack,
we're
okay, well, who's going?
go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
Alex.
me. We're actually seeing the pins already in right there on the screen, and the booster is being lowered to be put on the pins. It seems like these pins we were talking earlier in the stream, they help to be able to put the booster inside the stand and outside of the stand, the transport stand. So it seems like it is for this. Obviously, we don't have the full answer, but it seems like a good guess that they are helped that they help the booster come out of the stand and come into the stand in such a way that that the shields and the nozzles don't hit the structure of the stand itself. So yeah, we're about to see that. You can actually see on the left hand side, one of the pins is going to be connecting. You see that box a little bit next to the clock? It has like a small insert into it, right? Like some kind of hole, square hole. That's where the pin is going to be going to. Again, if they use the pin, because we were expecting it to be used on the OLM, and yeesh, they didn't use it, right? It's like, but okay, let's see what happens. This is always a little bit of a guessing game when things happen for the first time.
Yeah, we saw those like guide pins or whatever you want to call them added to that transport stand over the course of, I don't even know. It felt like weeks, but it was probably just a couple days. And I remember seeing that in the daily videos while they were doing those modifications to that stand, and yeah, it's an interesting arrangement for them to have. Yeah, thank you for that. You can see like it's a little bar inside of a mechanism, and that bar will slide forward in the direction that Michael is drawing.
Yeah, Michael Art.
So yeah, this was a fast lift. This was
yeah.
This is what you want to see, right? If you want rapid reuse of these vehicles. I mean, you don't want a 12-hour lift with a crane stream where we're all losing our minds by the end of it. Like this is what you want. You want a nice fast setup like that. This is great. Ian, were you going to say something there before Alex jumped in with his insights?
I was going to say the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like they're taking their time here, going down little bit, pausing, little bit, pausing. Again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, some of you might have missed this. This is the first time they're lifting a booster off the pad and onto a transport mount using the Chopstick. So again, SpaceX is really learning how to use their own system here. This is a brand new design for lifting anything, really. So they're taking their time. They're going a little bit faster now because they're more used to it. But yeah, and they're going back down again. Like Jack said, this is a pretty quick lift, which is cool to see. Again, good to see them getting comfortable with this system because it's going to be needed a lot in the future. Not only at Boca Chica, but also at 39A and Pad 49, where they're currently building out the systems, at least at Pad 39A. But yeah, very cool to see this seemingly working well. And again, it looks like they've paused here, but again, they're learning here. Every little step, they're making sure you don't want to go too fast. You don't want to bump into the stand. You don't want to damage your engines because you don't want to make the damage any worse than it already is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The number one thing of any of this is don't make things worse, right?
Yep.
So like you said, they're going a little bit down, a little bit waiting, going a little bit down, and then waiting a little bit. So, but either way, this has been extremely fast. I mean, I've been running around a little bit out here, but I've been trying to listen in as best I can. And I mean, quick for the first time for them. For the first time they've ever done something. This is nice and rapid. You love to see it. It makes me wonder how fast they can get this process down after they get a couple repetitions in.
Yeah, so someone mentioning in chat, by the way, that we're nearing 4:20 p.m. Just like a Monday.
Brother.
So yeah, let's hope nothing happens.
Don't drop it.
Yeah, don't drop it. They have
at 4:20. The Chopsticks just yeet the booster up into the air like someone throwing a baby.
It's hard-coded software. The Chopsticks always open at 4:20.
Yeah. They have indeed accelerated many of their processes. Like, I even remember the rollouts used to take 3 or 4 hours, and now It's like, an hour, 20 minutes, an hour and a half, more or less.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, this is all good. This is what we want to see. When they showed like the super cool animations and renders of the launch tower and the chopsticks, just like stacking things lickety split. I mean, that is what they are working towards. Clearly, it's not just like an animation for funsies. They have actually they plan for it to be that rapid and easy. So it's cool. It's very cool to see. Do those so the guide pins that we were talking about, those aren't in active use as it's being lowered, right? It's more of a thing to like secure the booster after it's down, or is it the opposite of that? Are they actively used while it's being lowered?
So right now that it's already aligned with the pins, it seems like. So the pins should come in, attached to the HPU covers. You can see one of like a hole for the insert, and it should come in, close, and the stabilizers on the arms should open, and then those are gonna be lowered along with the booster. So the booster is gonna be lowered on the stand, and these pins are gonna be going down. Yeah, there's
Aha.
Michael pointing it. There goes. Yeah. So, and as the booster goes down, the pins are going to be coming down. And we believe that's so that the engines don't hit the stand. And that's actually a very clever way to ensure that there's a clearing. If you have something that just keeps it, because obviously if you have the stabilizers at the top, still, the bottom of the booster can rock a little bit back and forth and move around. But if you have a stabilizer of sorts on the bottom, you can put it on the stand and out of the stand very cleanly, without any problems of, the engine hit the stand and now we gotta replace the engine. And it's like, damn it,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's at the end of the lever arm, right? I mean, I don't know about these things, but it's a big lever.
Right.
They just rotated the booster a little bit there.
That's true. They must
So
be aligning it.
You don't want to lower this thing and have the lip of that heat shield catch on the transport stand. You're going to bend it all crazy, or even worse, like one of the Raptors or something. Definitely makes sense that they would build it. That's funny. My like mental concept of how this all worked was completely wrong.
And just imagine if there was a little bit of more wind. It seems like today is calm, relatively calm today with the wind. But if there was a little bit more wind, they can do this still, sometimes even before with the cranes and all of that, they had to hold operations because of high winds. Now probably they just can do it. Obviously, maybe at first they won't do it, but eventually once they get more experience with this, they might eventually do it with higher winds because they have all of these stabilizer systems either at the top or at the bottom. So one could imagine that could be a thing too in the future. And all of this, by the way, I shall mention, all of this will help for 39A operations, which are very upcoming.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like the qualifier very upcoming. There's not just upcoming; it's very upcoming.
Very upcoming. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a little bit of track back to the flyover video that we released.
Nice. Let's see here. Really quick, just wanted to thank Clint Galloway for the very generous super chat saying keep up the good work. Thank you, Clint. Cool. Well, I feel like Chris G is talking about how he says indeed all the time. I feel like I say cool way too. I was like, oh god, now it's made me self-conscious.
I say yeah all the time, and and things like that.
You also say ole.
No, I don't say that on the streams. I say that in Spanish, but it's another thing.
So, how long is the road closure day? Does it go till 10? Did I see that correctly, or am I wrong?
I do not know, actually, the road closures.
Oh, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay, cool. So we're kind of, we're expecting them not just to put it on the transport stand, but they're also going to roll it sort of back to the production site today, I think would be a wise guess, yeah?
Yeah. And also because the next closure is not until Monday, so you can imagine them being like, "Hey, we'll roll it today so that we don't have to wait all the weekend to be able to roll this back." It kind of makes sense. Now, will they have time? We'll see if they have time. They seem to definitely have enough time, a little bit under 6 hours left in the window, so I think they're probably gonna be rolling them back.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying really hard to not be distracted about the Booster 7 lift because they are lifting a fairing here, and also they are attaching the lifting cap to Booster 1063. So SpaceX can walk and chew gum. Let me tell you, they are they are hustling. They're not just working with Starbase. They're also kicking butt with the Falcon series of rockets, and oh my gosh, there's never a shortage of stuff going on, which is nice.
Jack's over here watching 2 boosters being lifted.
Indeed. Oh, I've been struck with the indeed. It's like a sickness. Let's see. Mike Hancock asking about the chopsticks, if they've ever tested a rapid close, like we might be needed for a catch. I don't recall having seen one. Does anybody else? I could be wrong. I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't think so. I mean, if they ever do test that, it'd probably be much closer to like a launch date or a launch where they're going to catch that. But yeah, I don't think we've seen an actual quick close before.
I don't recall that either.
Good question. Emil is asking if Ship 24 needs Booster 7 or can it also be compatible with Booster 8. I believe Ship 24 is compatible with Booster 8. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the thing where what was it? 22 or something wasn't compatible. 21 weren't compatible with
22
5.
with Booster 4 and 5. Yeah.
Thank you. There was a whole changeover because they swapped how the mechanisms work. But that is not like a constant thing they're swapping around. So at least for now, all ships should be compatible with all boosters until they change it again. Bum, bum, bum. I'm just looking at the base of that booster, waiting for it to continue to go down a little. Has it been? I'm not really able to A/B test right now. Has it been kind of stationary?
It has
It
been.
seems like the pin on the right. The pin on the right. It seems like it moved. Moving back the stream a couple of minutes.
Oh, and the left pin has moved in a little bit as well. They're not. I don't think the left pin is not in the pin slot yet, but it's moved inward definitely.
Yeah, we were actually trying to be like, hey, has this moved, on the back channels and all of that for those watching? That's why we were like, hey, trying to talk at the same time. Sometimes it just happens that it's like, who's gonna say that?
The left pin is moving inward right now. They aligned the booster a little bit a few minutes ago, and now they're moving the left pin in. So hopefully that's a good sign that they're going to keep going.
That's neat.
Excellent. That's what we want to see. Those pins. It's like what a cool mechanism.
Yeah, it's so neat, and it makes sense because with something this big, you'll have to stabilize it against wind and just against its massive size anyway. So yeah, having stabilizer pins is pretty cool. And I see people are asking in chat what the pins are. I think Alex, you described it before. Could you maybe go over it again?
Yeah,
they almost look like trailer hitches, right? Like it's like a big steel ball at the end of a long arm, right? Is that a fair assessment, Alex?
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Basically what they do is just stabilize the bottom of the booster. There you go, the Michael art here on the screen. And what they do is that you have the arms at the top, right? And you have the small stabilizers at the bottom of the arms, but still the bottom of the booster can move a little bit to the sides and all that, right? So ideally, what you will want is some mechanism that can hold the booster, like the bottom of the booster, in place, so that when you put it on the stand, you lower it down to the stand. That allows some clearance of the engines, so that they don't hit the stand and things like that. That's sort of the guessing that we have here. That seems to make sense, right? And these pins, they connect to, as we're seeing right now, actually, they connect to what seems like one socket on the HPU, the hydraulic power unit arrow cover, which is that let's say shiny box on the left. And yeah, it seems like there might be already putting it the left one. I've seen some movement like of pushing. Might be only my eyes though. But yeah, this I believe the question was asking about what they actually do. Well, that's basically what they do. And yeah, Michael was circling them before. And what we're expecting is just that, is the arms are going to be lowering the booster, and as the booster lowers goes down, the pins are also going to be going down, and they're going to be helping that, that bottom of the booster to not sway in. Like, think about a day where there's more wind, right? That will be a bad day where the engines now hit the stand and you got to replace them or something. That's something that you wouldn't want to see. And this obviously helps in those sense. Yeah.
They need like a more like descriptive name than just pin. They need to be called like wiggled arms or like what do they? Because what do? They or guide arms. I guess that's a less stupid name. But yeah, something like that. But I like pins too. It's nice and simple.
How about the booster grabby stabilizer bringer downer arms?
Yeah, perfect. Let's go with. Wait,
go.
can you make it an acronym that we can then backronym?
Turn like Starship
geez.
into an acronym. No, I cannot get into this.
I still can't get over the heat shield. Like I presume that those panels were blown off. I'm completely guessing. I could be completely wrong. They could have taken the panels off to assess the engines, but yeah. Either way, like the bottom of the shield, where you can see, it's just like the individual segments are no longer no longer joined. That doesn't look so happy.
Another thing that I've noticed just now, well, actually I noticed before, but I wanted to put it out now, just because. Three of the engines, so 34, and I think is 86. That's a big number, by the way. And 53. Those three right now at the center of the screen, they seem to be held down by straps, a yellow strap of sorts. I think you might be able to see it if you squint really good.
Yeah, huh.
But they seem to be connected with a strap, which makes me wonder if perhaps the shields also used to hold these engines as well, and not because the shields are not there, they're holding them. Like, obviously, because these are the engines that do not move, but still, even when it's the non-movable engines, you still have some movement, right? In physics and in real life in general, you don't have a perfect non-moving thing. I think there's actually many videos out there talking about the immovable object and things like that. So obviously they still wiggle and move a little bit and rattle and all of that. And I suppose that probably the heat shield thing that they have helps with that, holding the engines. We've seen in the past that these engines also have some sort of additional hardware at the sort of top of the nozzle kind of interface that perhaps could be installed with a shield. So yeah, I'm wondering if now that the shields are not there on those engines, that might be related with the straps going in. That could be a thing too. Just wild
Yeah, that makes
guessing, but
sense.
yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's not always that things have exploded, Jack. Sometimes there's a reason that is not explosion related. Let's see.
It looks like there's still no movement on the vehicle, but again, they're just probably centering everything, making sure it's all okay before going down.
Yeah, that makes a lot of. I mean, like you said, Ian, this is the first time that they have that they've lifted a booster off the OLM with the chopsticks to put on a transport mount. They've lifted it up and put it on the OLM once now with the chopsticks, and this is the first time they've taken it off and set it back on the transporter. While we wait for it to keep moving, how
Can I make
about
another guess?
yeah, make more guesses. Guess away.
Okay. So I was saying before, 86 looks to me like a huge number for these engines, like the engine number. And I was thinking if that might be the one that they replaced yesterday, because we saw an engine being replaced yesterday. I believe the highest number we've seen in these engines was 63 or 64, I believe. So this is at least 20 numbers above that. So I do wonder if perhaps this is the new one. Now, see, now I'm curious. Elon, if you're watching, just tweet it. I'm really curious.
Also, get back to work.
Yeah, that too.
Let's see, really quick. Phil, thanks for becoming a new member. Red Team. Jerwa, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Holy cow. Thank you, Jerwa. I love this new gifting feature. I really do. Let's see. Andy, thank you for the support. They say in Tim's interview, Elon said there are people with 12K cameras. I think he referred to you guys. What kind of cameras, equipment, locations you have? That's like a big long question. We can probably go over at some point in the future, but definitely we field the best possible gear that we can. Let's see. Tirade 777, thanks for becoming a Capcom member. At Capcom member level and above, you get Discord access. So hop into the Discord if you haven't already and say hey. KCJ is asking what's happening. Smiley face. There's a Booster 7 lift on, my guy. Maxence is asking, can we expect a orbital flight this year with this incident that's happened? I'm gonna say yes. What do you guys think? Still orbital flight this year?
Yeah, I'd say we still have a chance at it. With what vehicle, I don't know, but that's my 2 cents. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, that's complicated. I'm gonna say I'm still on Q4, but perhaps instead of October, November, as I said, more towards December. I wouldn't be complaining if it were on my birthday, December 13th.
Yeah, that'd be nice. As long as it's this year, I think I'll be happy. But as long as it happens, let's be honest, I'll be happy. Dave is asking, do you think the unintentional Big Bang has reduced the chances of a 33 Raptor static fire? Didn't Elon tweet that they weren't going to do a test with 33 engines after the anomaly, or did I misread that or misremember it?
I think he just said they're not going to do any spin prime tests with those 33 engines. I'd say they're probably still going to do like a 33 engine stay static fire and pre-burner test, but I don't know about the spin prime testing anymore.
That makes sense. Let's see. Alan, booster oscillation obstruction module, or BOOM for short. We were talking about the the whole acronym thing earlier. I like it. Roseanne, thank you for the support. Jade, thank you for the super chat. They say this is a cool, but after the excitement of SN10, development has felt like it has slowed to a crawl. I am so ready for an orbital launch. I mean, SN10, really? I would say since SN15, I don't know. And it's not even a crawl. Like, there's been so much happening. It's just different things besides flight.
Oh, yeah.
I am excited for more flight, though. Don't get me wrong. Ugly Trap God, thank you for the support and becoming a Red Team member. Flawed Perspective, thank you for the support. They say for the NSF copyright trademark misuse legal take action fund, your feed is yours. Thank you, Flawed Perspective. Let's see, Christine. Christine saying Raptors need to spread their wings and take flight. Thank you, Christine, for the 420. And John Cobb, thank you for the support, saying funny that I'm at the Port of LA and they're watching CRS 25 from Canaveral. Oh, and the lifting cap for the boosters going back up. I did bring the robot. I was hoping we could do like a side-by-side, like the two boosters being lifted. But the signal's being not fair here, as it goes sometimes. But either way, B7 is the star of the show, and that's what we are keeping our eyes on right now. Let's see. Yehuda, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, is asking, what is a spin prime test? Ian or Alex, do either of you want to respond to this very generous final super chat for a little while and explain what the spin prime test that they were doing was, and maybe even why it went boom boom?
Ian, you go.
Oh, okay, thrown at me. So a spin prime test is, I'm not 100% sure on this terminology, I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've been on a Starship testing stream.
Don't you want to work on engines?
Don't judge me. Anyway, yeah, it's when I believe it's when they flow liquid oxygen through the engine. They do not start anything up. There's usually no fuel involved. It's basically just opening up all the valves, getting the liquid oxygen flowing into the engine through the pre-burners into the combustion chamber, and just shooting it out the engine. No ignition, no fire in a normal spin prime test. But what happened with Booster 7? Somehow methane got out. I don't know if that's what they were doing the spin prime test with, or if they were like doing engine chill, or if there was a leak or something. But somehow methane got out. Somehow it got ignited, and that's what caused the fireball underneath Booster 7. But yeah, spin prime test. They flow liquid oxygen through the engine. It's basically an engine ignition without, igniting the engine and without fuel. It's just flowing oxygen through it. It spins up the pumps too, I should add.
Yeah, I mean that's the spin part, right?
Yeah, exactly. I should add that's where the spin part comes from, and prime is priming testing. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it me, or does it feel like the booster is a little bit lower than before? It appears to me that they are lowering it.
Very slowly. Yeah, doing an A/B test, they are actively, very slowly lowering the booster. So it seems that they were all good with the pins getting inserted and are going into the transport stand.
Yeah, and I mentioned a lifting cap earlier. I hope it was clear. If not, I'm talking about a Falcon 9 booster here at the Port of LA that I am currently sitting in front of and watching. It is also about to get lifted, but yeah, just wanted to make that clear. There is no lifting cap for boosters at Starbase.
Can you imagine?
Oh, that would be a nightmare to design.
It'd be a big cap.
And doing a quick A/B test, they are still moving the booster down slowly.
Yeah, and so once it gets lowered into the stand fully, there's like some little grabby clamps that will grab the base of the vehicle, right?
Alex is probably best for that question on the GSE side.
Well, on the stand, yeah, they have the clamps. There you go. Michael is circling that. Yeah, they have 20 of those that go in between the engines. They catch on the bottom of the booster. It's very weird, to be honest.
Yeah, there's like a lip. There's like a lip on the bottom of the booster, right?
Mm-hmm. Right there on the arrows.
And those are the same attachment points that hold the booster onto the launch mount, right?
Indeed, yeah. The same thing, the same mechanism. Just different hardware, but yeah, the same mechanism.
Don't get me started on launch mount hold downs.
Oh boy.
Zero Fox, thank you for upgrading to launch director. That is super duper appreciated. That is one of the higher levels of support for the channel. So thank you so much to you and all of our members. Speaking about all of our members, Evan, thank you for becoming a Padrat member. Very cool. If you guys don't know, there is a membership program through YouTube that you can join to support our channel and everything that we do. And there's a little button right below the timeline there. And if you don't see it on iOS, I think it's because it's a whole Apple versus YouTube, Google thing or something. But yeah, if you're on a desktop, it should be there. Little button, hit it. It'll show you all the different perks. Capcom and above, you get Discord access. So thank you to all of our members. The membership program is super important to helping us sustain what we do. There, it looks like it's moving pretty rapidly now downwards, right? Or am I seeing? I'm second guessing myself here.
Well,
No,
it's not going up. That's for sure.
It's not going down, I don't think, anymore. I think they paused.
Okay. Luis Bermudez, thank you for the support. Spacetime is asking, do we know any big changes with Booster 9 Plus? I imagine the chimes will change, since in Tim's interview they talked about that just being a very early design and that they were going to change. I think is something that Elon mentioned, but Elon mentioning something happening does not always mean that happens. I mean, we've been waiting for the forward flaps on ship to get moved around for a while now, based on, I think, a comment he made in Tim's previous set of interviews. So who knows? But has anyone heard anything, or have we heard anything that I'm forgetting from Elon or something about Booster 9 Plus being different in any way?
I don't think
Oh, I think they probably heard that from me. I believe I wrote a Starship article, one of our articles on our website, and I reported that there's gonna be changes coming up for Booster 9 and Ship 26. I think it was the pair. I remember now. Hold on, gotta do the math. Ship 24, Ship 20. So Ship 24 is Booster 7. Ship 25 is Booster 8. So I guess it's Ship 26. Yeah. See, I always forget about these pairings. But yeah, it should go along those lines. It's like the next thing that is gonna be coming up soon.
So you said there's going to be changes. Like, do we know what to sort of expect, or what might be to expect, or
Yeah.
for those of us that didn't read your article, but we should read your article. But what executive summary? Give us an executive summary.
Yeah, so from what I've gathered, at least, it appears that perhaps the chimes will change, which Elon already hinted at that on Tim's interview, by the way. So that's probably be one of those changes. I'm not sure how, so I'm not that informed. So it appears that at least the chimes are gonna be changed. So it's gonna be very minor changes. I do know there's a few major changes coming down the line, hint hint. But these are gonna be a little bit more subtle. Things like changing procedures for building, changing things like the chimes, and little things. We're also seeing for Ship 26, if I remember correctly, we seeing some stringers on certain parts of the tanks and things like that didn't used to be on previous ships. Very subtle changes that overall should probably be just to improve the reliability, the construction procedures, and the overall efficiency of the booster and ship design. So that's obviously very little changes. Again, little changes in comparison to, for example, when we had the change from Booster 4 to Booster 7. We went from 29 engines to 33 engines, right? We went to no chimes to chimes on the booster, things like that, right? Those are major changes. These seem to be more subtle, at least from the very limited information that I have.
Yep, that makes sense. And Booster 7, in a lot of ways, almost feels like a temporary, like a stepping stone from the previous design, like Booster 4 and 5 series, to the next design, which will be, however they change the chimes and whatever they do to aid manufacturability. Because sometimes it's just about making things easier to make, right? So
you're totally right. Yeah. In fact, these changes between 4 and 7 were so big that we actually made a video about that. about a summary of the changes of from Booster 4 to Booster 7 and from Ship 20 to Ship 24. So, scroll a little bit back. I'm not sure if mods have that on the chat maybe, but check that out and see maybe what changes there's been there.
Yeah, we put a lot of love into that video, and I think it's
Oh.
one of my favorite ones we've done so far. But it was definitely a good amount of work. Shout out to
Yeah.
Pauline, who's standing like 20 feet behind me, who did some of the illustrations for that.
Say hi to her.
But yeah, Booster 7 is what we're still waiting for it to get lowered further down here. But it is going to be lowered onto the transport stand, and we expect it will be rolled back to the production site today per the lengthy road closure that they will have to do it. My question is, once they get Booster 7 down and rolled back to the production site, do you think there's a chance that they then test Ship 24? They've got a lot of hours on this closure. I don't know. I mean, they could always just call it and open the road again after moving the booster, but the person in me who wants things to go fast is like, no, then just leave the road closed and test the ship. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great to see the ship get tested tonight. Make use of the road closure. If the ship's ready to go for it, I'd say. And hopefully it goes well. Better than Booster 7 Spin Prime went. Yeesh.
And I really, to be a fly on the wall in the Mission Control Center for that event would really have been something interesting. I have so many questions about why it happened, what they're going to do to prevent it, or maybe it was just a one-time stupid oopsie. I don't even know what you would call it, but hopefully, yeah, we don't. I mean, they've static fired ships so many times, and they've done pre-burner tests and all of that over on the suborbital side. I'm definitely. I feel like I almost shouldn't even say that at this point. I'm definitely not worried about ships and doing static fires, but I don't know. I guess Raptor 2 is kind of a whole wrench in the works in that thinking, in that Raptor 2 is basically a completely new engine.
Yeah.
Which I really need to watch Tim's Raptor 1 versus Raptor 2 video. I have not watched that yet. We're just like, we're a video recommendation stream now.
It was very good.
You will like that video because you know what? I help on that one. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
I help a lot of people.
Still
out
waiting.
there.
Again, still waiting. You are
doing a quick
helpful,
A/B test. Nothing's really changed.
Oh, what do you got?
The booster was slightly rotated, it looks like, but it has not gone down. That was in the past minute.
Yeah, I seen that too. You're right.
But yeah, hopefully they can get Booster 7 onto the stand quickly and get it carted out of there, and then maybe we can come back for some Ship 24 testing. But again, that's very up in the air. Maybe they'll end the road closure after this, but night is young, I guess. And also, of course, everyone remember, we're going to be back in less than 3 hours for the CRS-25 launch from Cape Canaveral. That'll be Chris G and Thomas and all them down there holding down that fort. But yeah, should be a very fun night.
And I'm really looking forward to that because it's gonna be amazing. I think we mentioned that it was going to be after sunset, so it's gonna be probably a twilight effect going on.
Yeah,
those are beautiful.
And also to anyone who's on the east coast of the U.S., I know I'm one of them, be sure to look out to the southeast tonight if the weather's clear, and you'll be able to see the second stage burning of that the CRS-25 mission. I know I'll be outside looking for that, hoping to photograph something, but yeah, very nice to see. But anyway, enough rambling on that.
Ooh, the booster is swaying. I just saw moving the booster, like left and right.
Yep. And it looks like the left pin has come out when they did that. Oh boy.
Don't drop the booster, SpaceX.
Please do not drop the booster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you have a drawer in your kitchen, it's kind of sticky, and you have to like kind of wiggle it to get it the first like inch or two out or in. Does anyone else have a busted Or is that just me? Okay, never mind.
I have one of those.
Me too. We all have one of those, I think.
That you're gonna fix, but you'll get to it someday. But you're gonna fix it.
So they rotated it a little bit. It swayed a little bit. Hopefully we see it move a little bit further down. I don't. How many feet would you say it has left to go? Like, oh, there it goes.
Oh.
It just went down a little bit.
Good job, Jack.
Yep. Going down again.
Yeah, it got probably about maybe 10 feet and closing, so about 3 meters or so. Because you know the Raptor 2 engines are about 3 meters tall, and it has a whole Raptor 2 to go down, so...
Oh, now it's booking down. Like,
Yeah.
it's going way faster than before.
Heck yeah.
And you mentioned, Ian, tonight's launch in the East Coast, there's also going to be a boost back burn. So you're probably going to be able to see boost back and re-entry. That's going to be amazing.
I won't be seeing that from my house, but if anyone's in like the Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina area, you'll definitely be able to see that boost back and entry burn in the first stage as well. I've been told those are very cool to see.
And if you want to know why there's a boost back but a barge landing, tune in tonight to the launch webcast. I was thinking of answering it, and I was like, I can wait and have people come in.
There, so the nozzles are like completely obscured. We're starting to get into heat shield territory here, so it's going down and going down fast.
Yeah, it looks like it has. I don't know, it's going down a lot slower, but
it seems paused, yeah, or at least, as you said, just going very, very slowly.
Yeah, it's paused.
Well, I jinxed it. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Luis, thank you for the support. They say, will full engine ignition be like that Fireball? Fireball, maybe. Shockwave, no. There would be no shockwave with the... Well, hopefully there would be no shockwave with the 33 engine ignition.
Yeah.
Capcom member, upgrading there. Enjoy your Discord access. And Travis Flint, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Awesome to always see the new memberships coming in.
There's a question in chat saying, will NSF ever do a video about what is the best rocket ever and why it's a Falcon 9? We actually did a video of sorts about how Falcon 9 turned out to be even better than SpaceX expected in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, also, we can't lie during a video. We'd have to say that the best rocket ever was a Saturn V, objectively. And we can't lie during a video.
It's tough because, well, it's fun to have like the friendly rivalries, like Worm versus Meatball or East Coast versus West Coast, where it's just like haha, and no one's really being serious. Like with a favorite rocket or best rocket, like it's obviously down to personal taste. And
oh yeah.
And I'm definitely not about to tell Chris B or Chris G that the shuttle sucks, even though I hate the shuttle, even though I love the shuttle. But yeah, it's one of those things where that might be a little bit too. Brian. Don't make me tap. Do not make me tap the sign again.
And we're moving down again, slowly but surely. You can see the nozzles poking out of the bottom now.
Yeah.
Very nice to see.
Yep, I would say maybe like a couple feet tops.
Yeah, about 4 feet maybe. Still going down, which is good to see.
Someone pointing out how all of this used to be, you know, with all the employees just swinging the booster with ropes and all of that. And look at how just, I don't know, it looks so elegant now that, you know, there's no human involved. It's just like little pins here and there and giant arms, and you just put the booster on the stand.
Yeah, I mean it's like kind of gone from an analog meat space, like humans have to wrangle it into place, like almost like a cowboy at a rodeo or something. Sorry, I'm getting a little Texasified over here. Versus now, it's just like very computerized, chopsticks, no human intervention outside of probably someone in a control room. But definitely a far cry from seeing like people with taglines attached to telehandlers or like physically pulling the tagline itself. Like it was quite a it was quite a physical activity to get a booster into place, and now we have
Yeah.
a much, like you said, much more elegant solution.
It almost seems like it was very primitive. Like, can you imagine? I don't know. Like the thinking of people right underneath the booster and the crane. Like, imagine if the crane fails. You know, it's like and having all of these people around supporting the lift and everything. Like, yeah, here at least if the arms fail in some shape or form, you don't have anywhere around the booster and the tower and everything. So it almost feels in that sense even safer, at least, you know. I don't know,
Yeah.
like that may be just me.
No, that makes sense. I mean, if there's nobody around to get hurt if it fails, then that is by definition safer than if there's a whole bunch of people around the base of it. That makes perfect sense.
Hmm.
Booster, is it paused again? It looks like it's paused again. With the cup with just like 2 feet to go or a foot to go, something like that.
Yep.
It's hard. I'm not good at scale already, and looking at things through a camera at a distance or even close up, when the things are very large, it can be difficult to judge scale.
Yeah, and again, like we said, this is all new. Like, they've never done a lift of a booster off the orbital pad with the chopsticks, so a lot of learning happening here. And it is moving down again as I say that. Should be about like 2 feet or so about half a meter.
Yep, almost there. Desmo Blue fired with a super chat saying, "Shuttle wasn't good, and I will die on this hill."
Wow.
Shuttle was good. It just wasn't anywhere nearly as good as it was supposed to be, and therefore it was bad. But it was still good. That's my how I'm trying to do my mental gymnastics here. But thank you for the support, Desmo. Booster 7 almost down. Almost down. So close.
I wonder if we're gonna see the like the clamps going in. We certainly have a good view.
Do we think we're going to be able to see like the clamps actuate there? I'm looking on my phone screen and it refuses to turn horizontal because it's been over 10 years with smartphones, and of course having something turn a video horizontal is way too complicated for it to work.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I digress. What do you guys
think-
with the bigger screens on hand? What do you think?
I think we even saw that even from the distance. If I remember correctly, we had one of the, so in the previews when they loaded the booster on the orbital launch mount, one of the things that they had to do was obviously that. And I remember I remember clearly pointing that out on stream, like, hey, you can even see that on the ones on the highway where they are, I don't know, it's like 1 or 2 miles away, and you could still see that. Like, it's amazing how, like, props to that. The cameras are very good.
Well, it is nearly down, if not down. I know I've said it already. Hopefully, I'm not too much of a broken record, but I'm floored by how fast this went. And I mean, remember, maybe you guys remember, maybe you don't. Like back before the launch tower was even built, how we would talk about, oh, maybe there'll be like a hexagrabber or something for the ship to like move it around autonomously after it's landed. Like I'm now thinking like, oh yeah, this whole system it could very easily all be automated eventually. Well, I say very easily, and I don't know because I'm not seeing this happen. Like, I don't know, it's exciting. I'm excited for this launch site and this style of launch site to come online and be more popular, and for them to build one in Kennedy Space Center and build another one and then build another. Like, let's do this. This is great.
And it looks like it moved down just a little bit more. Great to see that.
I'm floored to see the little guide pin things in action. It's really nifty. They didn't put the work in to modify that transport stand for nothing. Oh man. So we have the Booster 7 lift today. We have Booster 7 probably going to roll back to the production site. We have the tantalizing, although who knows how actually plausible, possibility of Ship 24 getting tested. We have CRS 25 launching from the Cape. There's a lot of things going on at SpaceX today.
Yeah, definitely. And now, as they are getting, it's not moving right now, but they're about to get it down to the transport mount. They will be plugging in the 20, I think, the 20 attachment points that will fasten the booster onto the transport mount.
Yep, and then once it's safely on the transport mount, the chopsticks will disengage, so that they can roll the booster away. Like, do we know? I'm not sure. Do we know if there's modular transporters under the transport mount right now, or is it just the transport mount by itself right now?
That I don't know. I feel like we've seen them under the mount, but I would not be surprised if they weren't under the mount either.
Got it. Well, either way, we will see those chopsticks disengage at some point in this process. Little catch arms, chopsticks, lift arms. Like, chopsticks ends up being the best name for them because they do so many things. I think they lift, they catch, they stack.
Very multi-purpose, that's for sure.
So I believe Michael has a treat for us right now, and we're seeing your view of the Falcon 9. And actually, one thing that I wanted to point out, right in this view, you've seen them put in the lifting cap, that is basically moved via crane that is right there at the port. And that lifting cap, you're not seeing anyone on lifts going up there to install it on the booster. I remember on the very, very first few recoveries of boosters, they used to go up on lifts, just like they used to go on lifts to install cranes and things like that on the booster at a Starbase. But here you don't see anyone. And why is that? Well, that cap is an intelligent or smart cap, as you one could call it that way. And it's full of sensors. It's full of cameras, just so they can very, very slowly put it in place so that it connects to the to the inner stage and set it down. And I believe we're seeing, the clamps going in on the stand.
Excellent.
Booster 7 was like, no, I gotta be the star of this stream. Come on. It's like the other day with B1058 on Fleet Cam.
So if I seem distracted, that's why, because I'm watching this lifting cap and Booster 7 at the same time.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they lift them both at the same time? That would have been cool.
Right?
Two
Side by
boosters,
side.
two totally different rockets, same company, in the air at the same time. That would have been cool.
And two generations, it's amazing. Yeah, but you can see the philosophy is sort of the same here. They used to have a lot of people just to connect a lifting cap, and now, now it's been like that for years already, where it's just a smart cap, and they connect it, remotely. They don't need to do any sort of hands-on work on it, which is very, very sweet. And here the same. We have, the chopsticks, stabilizers, the guiding pins, everything just working together to be able to do all of this. And now the clamps, if you do an A/B test here, they are all the way in. They seem to be. So it seems like Booster 7 is settled down on the stand.
Yeah, and as those clamps go on Booster 7, the lifting cap is now being lowered down into the inner stage. Perfect.
There you go. In
Yeah, there
fact,
you
the
go.
lifting. Oh, yeah, I was about to say, in fact, the lifting cap has its own solar panel on the top, which makes sense because you gotta power all those sensors some way, right?
Yeah, and I
It
don't think they'd
has,
let you run an extension cable up a crane.
yeah, it has its own solar panel and batteries and things like that. So it's very, very sweet and very, very smart, and it
Cool
makes
deal.
sense.
Yay! I was wondering if they were going to lift Falcon 9 today as well as boosters. Like sometimes the Falcon 9 will come into port and it'll stay vertical on the barge for a little bit. But looks like they are at least they're getting the lifting cap on. Octograbber is still attached at the base of the vehicle, so they'll get the cap on. They'll remove Octograbber. They'll lift the booster over onto the transport or onto the refurb stand or the flip stand. I don't know what you would call that. I guess it's just a stand, but it's just interesting, an interesting contrast to see between Starbase on the left and Falcon 9 recovery operations on the right. Uh, two very different vehicles and two very different systems, but you can see a lot of the same thinking in mind with the automated cap and the automated launch tower. Oh, look, there you
Oops.
go.
That was a very cool zoom out there.
Yeah, so that is what I'm looking at right now on the right. That is
Oh,
Falcon 9 for you.
there you go.
So yeah, Booster 7 clamps on. Now I guess the Chopsticks will let Booster 7 go, and they'll get it moved out from the Chopstick area, or whatever you want to, the lift zone, whatever you want to call it. We need like a sound effect for those snap zooms, like whoosh. We need to,
Zhing.
yeah, we need to get on that. A snap zoom is only acceptable if there's an accompanying sound effect.
See, and as you can see before, they still use a crane, right? So it's still a little bit sort of primitive, but you don't see anywhere people in lifts going there and installing the cap on the booster on Falcon 9 boosters. So it's still way better than how it was at the beginning. I remember like multiple lifts going up and inspecting the booster and looking at the inner stage and everything. It was the good old days. You can see
Indeed.
side by side both present of SpaceX, but in some sort of way it's also past and the future. Falcon 9 and Starship side by side. I
I
love it.
can't wait. I can't wait till we have some sooty ships and boosters. Uh, it's going to be awesome. I love the way a used Falcon 9 looks. Now, extrapolate in your mind what a used Starship and Super Heavy booster will look like. It's going to be really, really, really cool to see. Yeah, and there you can see Octograbber is still attached. Octograbber is like the equivalent of the transport stand in a way. They don't transport with Octograbber, but it's sort of like the same as the clamps. They're using Octograbber at the base of the vehicle to keep the center of gravity or mass or something that sounds smart. Smart words. Keep the booster nice and stable on the drone ship, and when they're ready to lift it, they will release those little white arms and lift that up in the same way that the clamps for Super Heavy unclamp and clamp on the transport stand.
I'm
It's
looking
like the
forward
same
to
company built both vehicles or something.
That's
Yeah,
such a weird coincidence.
I'm looking forward to see a Falcon 9 and a Starship at 39A side by side, or even a Falcon Heavy
I was about to
for
say,
that
why not a
matter.
Falcon Heavy?
Yeah.
Love it. Also,
love the difference.
how
Oh,
about this shot? I love this shot
mm.
of Starship and booster. What a great angle! Like ship in front, booster in the back.
That's such a gorgeous shot. We talked about it earlier, but earlier in the stream when you could have seen Ship 24 there on Pad B and Booster 7 in the air, that was beautiful. I hope we got some images of that.
Especially now that Ship 24 has the delivery up there, like the SpaceX logo
Yeah.
and the number, and another view. I'm hoping to see the cutie arm swinging. I wonder if it's gonna be soon.
Gosh, that arm is cute.
The cute D arm, right? The cute arm.
Yeah, it's a cutie arm. I'm gonna make that joke every time. You can't stop me. I'm sorry. I apologize, but you still can't stop me.
See, some people are mentioning because obviously our viewers are very smart. They're like, well, you know, the booster might not be sooty because it uses methane and things like that, while Falcon 9 uses RP1 as the fuel. And it's true that the methane burns cleaner, but if you think about it, part of the you know, the blackness or the darkness on the booster, on the Falcon 9 booster, is also the scorching of the reentry. So I wonder if we're gonna see any of that on boosters, Starship boosters, and even beyond that, we're expecting these boosters to fly many more times than Falcon 9 boosters. So perhaps that could also add up eventually, like maybe a booster with 150 flights or something like that instead of 15. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
That will surely add up a lot of damage. You know, well, not damage, but like outside scars of sorts. I'm really sure of that.
Yeah, some kind of like, well, I mean, I think because the boosters aren't going to be doing an entry burn, they're going to be going through like plowing through reentry. So there's going to be some scorching on there, I think. Rather than the soot that Falcon 9 has, but still some scorching.
Sign me up. I cannot wait.
Especially, you know, Super Heavy doesn't have a reentry burn, so it's gonna be coming in hot.
Isn't that what Ian just said?
Yep.
Oh, you said that? Oh, jeez. I was thinking of the ship for some reason. When you said that, I was just thinking of the ship. I don't know why.
But yeah, I don't know. Have you ever seen like? Have you ever get how to put this? Metal, when it heats up, often will become like it almost looks like a rainbow effect. There's probably a fancy scientific word for it, but
Yeah.
if the metal of Starship, if that stainless steel ends up kind of looking that same sort of
Oh, we're seeing here the livery. The number on the booster, Falcon 9 booster, it's way smaller. Yeah, 1063, and it's like a small 63 on the booster, and then Ship 24 has like this big number. You know, Falcon 9 boosters used to have a big number. See, if you let me speak about Falcon 9, start speaking about Falcon 9. They had way larger numbers on the octaweb at the bottom, but when they changed to Block 5, the problem with Block 5, not problem, but like the feature with Block 5 is that they have a heat shield on the bottom. So it's just covered with that. So it obviously doesn't make sense to put it back there. So they started putting it right where we're seeing right there under the grid fins.
It's almost like now it's, you know, it's gonna be right there, but it's also like still sort of an Easter egg hunt. Like, oh, can I get a shot of the number? It's super tiny. But it's always nice to see. 1063.
Oh, we're getting side by side.
There we go.
Oh, can we do a poll? Chat, which livery does it better? Livery? Starship or Falcon?
I like Starships better because it's bigger. The small livery on Falcon 9 is not good. I don't like that.
Okay, you can all talk about you can talk bad about Falcon 9, but at least it has its own logo. I'm gonna say that. Huh.
True.
Starship doesn't have its own logo.
Yeah, Starship doesn't need a logo.
It's just gonna be a star emoji and a ship emoji.
Oh.
And they're gonna put it on there too. They're gonna paint it on.
Oh, time for a poll.
They don't
I was
have
just
the
thinking.
star patch for the Starship Star program.
Star program.
You got to get a star livery on the Starship Star patch.
Star. Just like completely go full stroke out mode and just say the word star a bunch of times.
At Starboca, Star Chica, yeah. That's a
Let's
cool
see.
shot.
I like it. Travis Flint, thank you for upgrading your membership to Capcom. You're looking at a camera in Long Beach, California, and a camera at Starbase Boca Chica, side by side, and we can do stuff like that. That is super cool because of y'all's support. So thank you for becoming a Capcom member, upgrading there, and you get Discord access to Capcom and above. So hop into Discord and say hey. Port of Long Beach. Sorry, Port of LA and Port of Long Beach are like right next to each other. Port of Long Beach.
I like how Jack was corrected on his current location.
Well, it's like one big port, okay? And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
half of it. You know what, Ian?
Uh,
I'm not
trying my
infallible.
best.
Okay, so it is all Port of LA. Aha. Okay, Pauline is telling me it's all Port of LA, and then within the Port of LA, there's Port of Long Beach and Port of San Pedro. Today I learned, and now so did all you. But Starbase, focus. I like how the SpaceX's LR-11,000 on the right there is just like almost kind of sad. It's just like, oh, I didn't get to help today. Like, that's okay, buddy. You can help later with other things.
Like the Con Crusher.
Right? Or the E-Dome test tank.
That too.
Am I the only one? I'm unreasonably excited for the E-Dome test tank. That's the little stubby boy you see all the way on the frame right, almost underneath the crane. That is a test tank featuring new elliptical domes, but lifting cap is on. I was looking at my phone for too long, and they put the lifting cap on. Hooray!
Snazzy.
I love how this turned into like a dual fleet and Starbase stream. Shout out to Fleet Cam, we're invading. I need to mute for a moment. I will be back in a bit.
So, in case anyone just got here or has missed what we're doing here, we just saw a few minutes ago Booster 7 be lifted off the orbital pad and put back onto its transport mount. It's going to be rolled back to the production site in the coming days, and that is to undergo inspections and possibly repairs after the test anomaly, or I guess the explosion during testing a few days ago, that caused a currently unknown amount of damage to the vehicle. So they're moving it back to the production site to check it out, and we just saw it get lifted onto a transport mount. Hopefully in the coming minutes, hours, it'll be rolled back to the production site, and we may see some further testing tonight with Ship 24, but that is still all up in the air. But on the right-hand side of your view, we could see Falcon 9 Booster 1063 in the Port of Los Angeles / Port of Long Beach. That just returned on the drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You after launching on the Starlink Group 3-1. Yeah, 3-1. Thanks, Alex.
There we go.
But yeah, it successfully landed after the Starlink Group 3-1 launch from Vandenberg the other day, and we got some live coverage here of that being worked on in port. So a nice little side-by-side of two different boosters here. And of course, as always, if anyone has any questions regarding what we're seeing, be sure to tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. And nice little shot here of Booster 7. A little close up.
I know we're not showing Falcon 9 anymore, but someone asked how tall it is, and it is 47.6 meters. That's how tall. Meanwhile, Booster 7, which is super heavy booster, that's 69 meters tall. So you can imagine the scale, and also the diameter of Falcon 9 is 3.66, whereas the super heavy boosters are 9 meters in diameter. So it's a huge upgrade.
But very nice to
All
see
right.
there.
Well, with Booster 7 down and the clamps attached, I mean, basically at this point, the chopsticks are going to disengage and it'll roll back to the production site. I think we will leave y'all to continue watching the progress on Starbase Live. That's our 24/7 live stream of Starbase. You can watch the rollback progress there, and rest assured, if Ship 24 starts to do anything remotely interesting and does any testing or anything like that, we will do another commentated live stream. But I think in the meantime, let's all go hang out at Starbase Live, eat some popcorn, and watch Booster 7 hopefully roll back to the production site. How about that?